What is up, guys? Wraec is here with new video, and today, well, I want to do an early impression on Vulcan. Well, not just Vulcan, it's Doom Terminator Vulcan. It's the new Vulcan. Basically Vulcan in a mecha suit, by the way. If you didn't see that, that's quite funny. Let's deactivate the skin. You can see there's the broken mecha suit and Vulcan is coming down and now he's rebuilding it, which is quite a funny animation. I kind of like it, so I thought I would show it to you if you didn't see that yet. Yeah, didn't probably fix that up, but now he's going in there, and there he is, Doom Terminator Vulcan. We are using the new skin there from the Christmas event. The Rubik's Cube Guardian control unity attack crit damage, proper skin for him. Can definitely use that. We got a decent amount of attack here, 8.5 million. The tenant situation is a little bit bad. For me especially. Like, we have an EOS, we have a proper EOS, but I don't have any tree materials on her, so it's just base EOS. We put some imprints here, but like, yeah, could be a lot better. The S model, of course, properly set up because he's my SFX tenant, but we could get so much more attack out of here. Beyond that, slot 3, horrible Azrael and Tussilago in there. Some information on that. The tenant you want here is Tussilago. Tussilago has an attack skin, legendary version of it gives 6% attack, and that compensates for like around 1000 attack awakening compared to Ezra. So like if you have 3800 attack Ezra and you have a 2800 attack Tussilago, those aren't too far apart from the attack that they grant. So better go for the Tussilago. You can, of course, get copies of Ezreal in the auction house way easier than you could get once for Tussilago. So, because Ezreal is a Transcendence hero, more people awakening him, so that is something you could consider. In any way, both are bad tenants. Both are assassins, so that really sucks. That is a really bad slot, and it's a little bit like for Asmodel. Asmodel also has those super bad slot, the super bad slot 3. We check that out here. There he is. It's Tussilago and Saya, and both are assassins here as well, and both are very rare, and you don't get good copies, and it hurts the stats, so that's not really nice. Slot 1 is good, Vulcan, Mockman, both alright, both will be pretty easy to get in the future, so overall he has pretty good tenants apart from slot 3, but we can't really make use of it. The Mockman is alright, but like this EOS really drags down our stats. What I wanted to show you now, I don't really have a lot of testing on. I know he's impressive, that much I can say. I put like full sublimations on him. We have an A-tier copy with Giant Killer Precision. We have like that's something I should reroll. Give me a second. Okay, and we are back, full Doom Terminator Vulcan Resonance set. That was something I didn't see, and by the way, rerolling Resonance gear didn't get any better with them including Vulcan into the pool. Warrior pool just got a little bit bigger. We now got SSM, ATD, LFA, Vulcan, and all the base heroes of them in there, and then all the other warriors in the game. It really has 1000 warriors, it feels like, so that's insane. So that's the guy. We went for full sublimations here, and a lot of his sublimations are actually pretty good. Like, releases skill effect of Freezing Piece in additional time. Just look at Freezing Piece. They mean this. Each layer deals 1200% of attack damage to all enemies and reduces their speed by 20% by 20 for 2 rounds. Afterwards, there is a 40% chance to inflict Freeze Cold Chill for 2 rounds. And we inflict that a second time? Like, damn. That's really insane. That's really insane. Like, this on its own is just insane. 12% all damage dealt. Any day we take that. And for Concentrated Ray, an additional reduce of the attack by 10%. Concentrated Ray is this one. That's the most basic one. That's a ton of attack reduce, actually. And this alone is insane. Then we have basic stuff. And his basic attack, that is something I already saw. His basic attack is one of the strongest in the game. That is one of the hardest hitting basic attacks in the game. And look at this. Additional reduces frontline enemies' energy by 30. So if you have people that put like important heroes for them in the front line, for example, Star Alchemist Holmes team with Star Alchemist Holmes in the front line, well, not very good for them. So if you run Star Alchemist Holmes team, better put him in the back row if you want him to do an active at any given point. Adds the skill effect energy recovery when self-releases basic attacks. There are two 50% chances to obtain 1 layer of concentrated ray and 50% to obtain 1 layer of magic explosion. So we charge ourselves up even more to deal way more damage, and it's really the same as with normal Vulcan. You wanna get those layers, and you wanna get all those layers, as many as you can, and he will do a trillion hits. You will see that in the later gameplay that we will do. There will be a ton of hits. He doesn't do like this one hit, one big giant damage. He does deal like 50 hits, and all of them do some mediocre amount of damage, but sum that all up together and you get to some insane damage. And that is really, really good. Then we have this analysis stuff. Analysis basically gives him damage reduction, and then we get weakness disclosure, and weakness disclosure is an insane effect, a 45% damage reduction, and then we basically get a Wraec kind of effect, where he ignores like every single defense mechanic in the game until he releases the next active skill. So the next basic, so our basic attacks basically in that time frame, and just ignore all defenses there are in the game. And as I said, his basic attacks is one of the hardest hitting, so that is insane itself. And basically, this is like a small thing, a little bit of crit damage, but we take it. And this is basically all the ways that he can get charges, and with those sublimation we even get some extra stuff. And this one is insane. It's like his passive 3 sublimation, I already saw this. When the cap of any charged energy is reached, gains 50 energy instantly, and this ends up being an insane energy feed for him, where he ends up doing active after active every single turn. He can deal active skill like 3 turns in a row without even having any demon bloods on the team. So definitely get this last one. This one, if you can, of course, yeah, it's still nice. That is not like with Mockman where you have the one sublimation that you don't want to get. This is still nice. This is insane. This is insane. Basically, I would say get active skill, get passive 3. And if you can go for, definitely go for passive 1 as well. And passive 2 is kind of, if you can, get it as well, but you don't have to. So I built him pretty basic for the moment. Damage reduction, crit damage. I think skill damage might be rather good, but the first testing I did with it was worse than crit damage. So we have to see. But if you can get like a skill damage bonus stat on here, that will be insane, because he has all those charges. I mean, just look at it. Cap 6, Cap 4, Cap 2. You can do this 6 times with one active. The concentrated ray. And then 4 magic explosions and 2 freezing pieces that all are double triggered on the active skill. And concentrated rays, basically each layer deals 300% attack damage to 2 random enemies 2 to 4 times. And we already got the first videos where he wiped entire enemy teams. And that is insane. But now let's just hop into some gameplay. Let's check that out. I prepared some Realmscape for you guys. That's basically Realmscape 140. We are going to use my PvP team, which is gone somehow, my PvP team, and we are going to use that to just do Realmscape VC 140. No adjustments. That's a straight up PvP team with some snow arts, so it's not optimized to do that here at all. So we do this. We have a proper Mockman in here. It's like 1 or 2 million less attack than the Vulcan. Oh, I have big numbers on, so that is a little bit annoying. Check out this active skill. That's juicy, but it's like with the regular Vulcan. The active skill that you want to see is not this one. It's the next one that's coming up. This one. And he's dealing like all of those small numbers here. But overall, this really sums up to a ton of damage. And the longer he lives, the longer he's alive. You get those hits, like a ton of small hits, and just you wouldn't even think he did a lot of damage here. But if you compare it to Mockman, it becomes really obvious how strong he really is. So let's try light as well. And now let's see what we do here. It's a CC team, obviously. I run a CC team for Vulcan. Another thing that definitely looks cool is his core. His core has like the long wall of text, with like a million things on it that he does. And that is something we definitely need to test in the future as well. And then I think on the next turn we are going to see a proper active skill. Yeah, he didn't recharge his energy, sadly. I would have loved to see that. Still, as some people said Mockman is bad in comparison. That is obviously not true, but you can see there is still some proper damage, and he out damages him most of the time, and not even by small margin. It's like 30 trillion, and there we have 52. So that is still pretty substantial amount. The more enemies there are, obviously, the more it spreads. For this one here, for the Trial of Gluttony, I prepared a special team. It's this one basically. That is a little bit of an energy feed team. Not too special really. We didn't even have a core active in this one, but that doesn't matter. And it's mostly there to compare Mockman and Vulcan against Trial of Gluttony, which takes forever to load. I hope we can beat it. If we can't, it's just for comparison. We just want to see which team or which hero can do the most damage in this given time. I put a Demon Bell on both of them. They have pretty comparable setups, so it's not like one of them has an Endless Cane or something. Keep in mind, Vulcan has more attack in this setup, so that of course will make a difference. And this honestly might take a little bit, but I really want to show you guys the numbers that we can get around 2 or 4. That is like already insane. It's like already insane. And we can see we had 6 stacks before he attacked. We had 6 stacks of energy reduce on here. And that obviously is insane. We have a full energy feed here, which isn't all too beneficial for him. He could deal more damage probably if we can do a basic skill in between, because it gives him some charged energy, it gives him some stacks, gives him some crit damage. And now we can really see the point where it makes a difference between Mockman and Vulcan. While Vulcan still does great damage, Mockman just entered his defensive stance and is basically out for a few turns and won't deal proper damage. And I think this is something that obviously will make a difference in use when we see him fight against Flame Shrine, or when we see him fight against something like a Star Expedition. There I think Vulcan will shine a lot more than Mockman ever could. And we can already see the first huge numbers coming in here. And Gluttony is really great to test this, honestly, because Gluttony is just a crap ton of life that we see. And he has this small hit that Mockman does as well, which is quite cool. Like Mockman, if he does a basic attack, he does this explosion kind of thing. And Vulcan kind of does the same, which is quite cool. Oh, Mockman just came back into his offensive stance, so that is nice. So we can see some more Mockman damage. Yeah, and I mean, that is just insane. This was a turn 7 active that we just saw there. Turn 7 active versus Trial of Gluttony. And Trial of Gluttony puppets on VC140 are beefy. Believe me, they are beefy. And we can see Mockman not even doing visible damage here, while Vulcan's really shredding through the HP. And I think our Ferric Investor here is going to outdamage our Mockman, even though she does not have a comparable attack. I mean, did you see that damage? That lagged the game. That lagged the game. That was so much damage that already lagged the game. I mean, that is a little bit volatile here on this emulator that I'm using, but like, not sure what this was. Did he just do a basic? Okay, Ferric Investor finished it. Let's check that out. And yeah. I mean, that's the same setup. We use a Demon Bell. All of those 3 heroes had a Demon Bell. This Vesa has a great role. This is a Giant Killer Defier Precision. This is like perfect damage roll, while the Mockman here does just have 1 offensive stat in form of Giant Killer. So he's a little bit in a disadvantage to Ferric Investor. But we can see as a boss damager, there is possibility for him to use him in Star Expedition. I certainly see the possibility that he's a great damage dealer in Star Expedition. And, I mean, I'm just waiting. And the prices in the auction house, there are some people in there, they threw their copies. They said it's like 35 to 50k or something. And I can see his prices explode way over those of Mockman. Definitely. I mean, just take the screenshot, look at this. And that is, I guess, enough of a proof of his damage. I'm eager to see the first SE damage with him. I could do VC140 pretty consistently just with him, even though it never really looks like he does all of that damage. So let's take him into tower. Let's check out tower as well. We're not going to use too much of a setup here. I prepared a little bit of a Defensive setup, we are again going to use Mockman. Mockman obviously in the back row. Are going to use those 4, so with full setup here. And let's just... Do we have a core? Yeah, let's use Mockman core. Later on in the week, I'm thinking about getting a proper Vulcan core as well. And what we can see is like we have this initial turn 1 burst, and that is really the thing that that Mockman does well. Maybe let's change the artifact on the Mockman to a more defensive artifact as well. We have a melodic strings on here right now. I kind of want to see him do a little bit of a basic on turn 1, and then later on do an active if there is something left. Let's compare the active side by side. In reality, it's more like the turn 1 active of Vulcan is not really that impressive. And that's something that obviously hurts him a lot, while our Mockman obviously slays there and destroys everything. Let's compare that with the melodic strings now on the Doom Terminator Vulcan. Let's see his turn 1 active damage. That makes a difference in campaign. If the active skill on turn 1 is not that impressive, if you use Vulcan, that will hurt. Because like the initial damage that you can do on turn 1 really determines if you survive or not. Like in this sense, we had 6 enemies that survived, and if we have 6 enemies that survive, we take 6 hits on the next turn. Next turn they attack us 6 times, so that is for sure going to hurt and is for sure going to be a problem. So let's just go on like this. Switching the setup here on basically every single fight, but like it has a use. So that is something I want to show. I saw some insane clips already, basically with Vulcan being the last surviving hero in a PvP match, and him just straight up destroying the enemy team. And that is something he can most certainly do. He charges up his layers. There is no time limit on it, and then he does an active like this, and suddenly the enemy team is gone. But you can see how in the fights like this, suddenly Mockman has a bit of an advantage, and I would say it's wrong to say that Mockman has no use anymore. The use is mainly turn 1 burst. I think if you go beyond this turn 1 stuff and you really let him go into the later rounds and see if the damage on turn 6 or turn 7 and compare this kind of damage in game modes like a Star Expedition and everything, I think you are bound to be disappointed with the damage our Vulcan or Mockman deals in comparison to Vulcan. Well, that is certainly a very mean stage. Now I kind of wish we kept the melodic strings on here. Our Vulcan died to the Gustin link. Our Mockman is sadly locked down because of the Annabelle, so it's not really a whole lot that we can do here aside from healing a little bit. But now we get counterattacked and die. So let's give the Mockman the artifact he needs to carry us, which is melodic strings, obviously. And then let's see how we get through here. I think they are good side by side as well. And if you use both heroes, I think that's quite alright. Put a crown on the Vulcan, put him in the campaign in the back row or something. Let him survive a few turns, and then we will see what the damage really is. And again, we get killed by link damage, which is not that great. The account is currently rather weak, mainly because we have no proper tenants and no really buffed up heroes. Vulcan takes some of these stats, so that is a little bit of a problem. Let's just skip that because we can certainly win it. It's just a question of the links. Let's switch that, and then let's see how we do against the Unimax. Some people thought about him as a CC hero, about Vulcan as a CC hero. I have to say I did not really see his CC qualities. I rarely ever saw CC on him. Here he could be quite decent as well. I mean, if he gets taunted, he still does a ton of hits, so that is something. Like, that was insane as well. Killed so many enemies. I doubt, by the way, that an armor shield is that effective against Vulcan, because he can still just do a ton of hits and punch through. So that is definitely something to consider. another thing is like some of these abilities hit like 3 enemies. So obviously if there are just 2 or 1 left, then this is a little bit limited. So let's compare the damage values that we deal. And here the Mogman actually out damages the Vulcan. And then we have the entirely opposite thing. And I guess in this round, our Mogman got a little bit destroyed because we have the Natashas, and Vulcan took over and won us the fight. Against the CC stage, we will likely have problems. Yep, I thought so. Let's go for a little bit of early burst. Do we have a melodic string somewhere? I need a melodic strings. There. No idea why I put it on that Sire, but I did. You know how it is. Sometimes we do weird things. So let's put that on here. We will go for a little bit of early burst. And let's see if we can't beat that CC stage. I'm pretty sure we can. It's just a little bit of a problem. That the account is rather weak, and we don't have like the usual 16 million attack SFX or something. That is just not available at the moment for us. Sadly, didn't get any good kills here. I would have loved to kill like some of the more impactful heroes here. But I think we have good chances here to win. Yeah. There we got some CC, but I thought about using with Rui when I first saw him in saw skill card first, and like when I used him with Rui, I noticed like there's nothing really happening. His CC is so rare; it just comes from one of his abilities, and this ability rarely triggers. I think this is the one where you need an ally or an enemy to die. And even then, his CC is not what you're looking for. Might be a bit different with the core, though I would reckon that core is a little bit like the SFX core, in that you need a hero with a high CI offset to attack that, to trigger the CC. But again, we see some proper damage, and there's no question about this. Let's skip the rest of the fights, actually. Promptly get a defeat, obviously. You know how that works. CC stage might be a little bit of a problem again, but no, they are equal even. So there are situations, it really depends on the enemy if Mogman or Vulcan is better. I guess in a boss fight we are going to see more success with Vulcan, and we might even have our next proper damage dealer for Star Expedition here at hand. So it will certainly be interesting to do more. In any way, guys, there will be more of a PvP fight coming up, or PvP battles coming up. Is this like a proper PvP team? No, this guy built a Vulcan team. Titan Roy. Let's attack him. I want to attack this guy. So we just see one PvP fight. I don't have a proper team set up with Vulcan. But in any way, everything's experimental. So let's see what he does. Did you see that? That was nice. He just instantly CC'd me and I got destroyed. I love getting destroyed. Honestly, I hate doing matches in PvP and then just straight up winning. That is always very annoying, because I tend to cut that out. But he was just faster than me, and you can see his Vulcan did less damage though than his Mogman. So let's adjust our team a little bit and see if we can't beat this guy, because now I want to beat him. Now the point has come. He has to fall. Let's just switch that one. Now I went to Neos. Okay, we give him a like. It was a misclick, but when we misclick, we leave like. Obviously. So let's see if we get better luck now. Still faster than me. But now he got worse chases. But following up, did you see how dirty that was? He just followed up with the Vulcan and got the kill, obviously, on a lot of heroes. Ooh! I mean, even with the B-, he's absolutely destroying me. I love it. I love it. SFX would probably help if I still had her in here. So let's see if I get any win chances at all. This team, my team, even with the SFX, struggles a lot against Rogues. Because we are just very, very slow. And that can be a problem in a lot of fights. Well, or it ends like this. I mean, we redeemed ourselves here, even though he was certainly better with the quick rogue team. So, anyway, guys, I wanted to give you a quick update. We will look into him a bit more in the future, but as you guys know, I take my time. I really use a week or a little bit more even to come up with a conclusion, and I want to show you guys my early impression. That will change. That might change. This is a result of only a little testing of maybe 4 or 5 hours or something, and during the week we will do way more. So I wish you guys a great week, and we'll see us in the next one.